Pirated copies cost tens of cents. Until recently, China's strict regulations have not been liberalized. The untapped Chinese video game market has created Wild West with almost the same features. Each of these games can bring incredible entertainment and scary games, just like Zook Hero Z is a great game. However, it provides important lessons to help you understand good game design, duplicate game design on the surface, and understand how it works. And since I love Donkey Kong, I will focus on Donkey Kong 5, A Journey of Time and Space. Donkey Kong 5 was developed by Syntax, a company with over 100 pirated Game Boy Colors. Time and space journeys are conceptually more interesting than real games. Beautiful and delicious girl Sadama is a friend of Donkey Kong, and is responsible for the spirit of all plants around the world. But she was invited to Lombardo. Lombard lived in the dark corners, and did not like the dark corners and the blooming flowers, so he invited D-Balls. After Donkey Kong stared at the world for a while, he became hungry and became a monkey. And he grew hunger and weakened until he searched for a soap ball in a boat. This is an interesting, shocking environmental message that fits the theme of the Donkey Kong series. And obviously because the game was re-released in 2003 as Harry Boys and Secret Changer Digimon Sapphire and the memorable Super Mario Sunshine Easy porting. This is just a change of the title screen. Sure, it's tempting to play Harry Boy, who is constantly freed from the frog's curse. But I can't because I love this bloody DK and hungry for Diddy Kong's corruption. The game is... to be honest, these are the first 5 worlds of Super Mario Bros. Deluxe Edition, with a mix of weird elves and elves. The DK is a hero, and the soundtrack is from Pokemon Pinball. It has been deleted. What's surprising is how poorly the game tries to mimic the most famous game ever. There was a slight delay in control, and even with the game's decision, no, you didn't press the button, but now is dead, the control was shocking. Depending on the screen, you may not be able to scroll backwards, or you may not have any problems. In any case, when you shake your head, all power suddenly disappears. Collecting pieces of meat to become a true Donkey Kong is stagnant at DK, but the rest of the world is still advancing, meaning that the platform is moving straight out of the foot and toward the enemy. You can attack opponents who no longer operate the screen, especially duck hockey players who throw tomahawks. These strange things happened in all vertical channels since World 1-1. And we didn't mind the rise of DK to break down obstacles. The Mario 1 Piranha Plant has a seemingly small hitbox to allow for a sudden change, but here is no luck and just death. However, the worst thing is the DK itself, and the penalized Diddy's DK injury box is horrible and cannot easily hit any corner except the feet. When these weird hedgehogs knock him down from the side, he dies, even if they roll into balls and behave like Cooper's shells. Also, he has the same height as Mario and can walk under one block, but his elves can be attacked by enemies as soon as they spawn. However, entering Strong Hong Kong does not have many positive effects. There are no destructible blocks in this game. In other words, the size of the DK is uncomfortable. There is no way to break through, constantly distorting geometry and crashing. However, the most dangerous thing is that the running DK is not a regular sprint, but a tornado. He must have been stolen from Tasmania and advanced at an astonishing rate. Due to the very small screen size, DK cannot respond to anything in front of him at all. Also, the fact that enemies are not always spawned properly does not help. If you want to change the strength, the DK will often fall off the cliff and step into this painful, long, slippery slide animation where you can't jump like Mario to stop the strength. The third floor of each world usually needs to provide more platforms for bottomless pits, especially for the low world bridge in the second world. But here are some unique things. I don't think this was intended, but there are some interesting quirks that make the game incomplete. As long as the B key is pressed in the air, the DK pulse will stop completely. This was most noticeable when firing Hadkin after collecting experimental potions, because it is now possible to fire Hadkin. This is in stark contrast to the challenges of Mario, Sonic, and even Donkey Kong Country itself, but offers more flexibility than something like Ghost and Goblin. Sex has found a strange waypoint that makes the DK very powerful in the air. You can also exploit this vulnerability by mixing B with a red DK and making the DK a donkey hover. This greatly increases the horizontal distance of the DK jump, but makes the fall much faster. When the screen gets bigger, it becomes a truly unique mechanic. Invincible diamonds only make DK invisible, and it is much more difficult to pass through the enemy's spirit than through invincibility. This is to prevent you from appearing and creating security when the enemy is exhausted. There was also a deadly shot on the floor, but it passed safely in a short time. Another new feature is the ability to replace spikes with bombs, treat the Billville cannon as a giant rifle, fire giant non-cartoon shells, and fight Dracula at the end of every castle. A little thing that makes the game the most interesting is to see what the game wins immediately, or see if some changes have been made to make up for the hurrying version of Mario. As long as they exist, my curiosity about pirates and pirates has always been great. I always laugh when I see something that is completely misused or makes a small mistake due to cultural differences, but they also have a fascinating game design area that seeks to find someone to reverse engineer a popular game without quality control grounds or hopes. It's interesting to see how Donkey Kong faces various difficulties, conquer Lombardy, and bring the world back to life. But this process, the struggle to exceed control levels, goes far beyond each level. It looks like this shows that DK stands out from the beautiful plains, and that Sadama, once a kidnapper, was invited for a long time and was fun. Since I haven't mastered the traditional challenge, I tried to overcome some half-hearted ideas and inevitably merge into a semi-consistent whole. But in this underdeveloped market, there are one or two weird ideas enough to demonstrate a complete idea. But only Donkey Kong 5. This is my favorite example of error design.
We're a band of vicious pirates
a-sailing out to sea.
When you hear our gentle singing,
you'll be sure to turn and flee.
Oh, this is just ridiculous. Come on, men. We've got to recover that map.
that pirate will be done for when he falls into our trap. We're a club attuned for rovers.
We can sing in every clef.
We can even hit the high notes.
It's just too bad we're tone deaf.
A pirate I was meant to be, trim the sails and roam the sea.
All right, crew, let's get to work.
Our vocation's a thing we love, a thing we'd never shirk. We'll fight you in the harbor.
We'll battle you on land.
But when you meet singing pirates,
There'll be more than you can stand.
Oh, that was a good one.
No, it wasn't.
We're a pack of scurvy sea dogs.
Have we pity, not a dram?
we all eat roasted garlic.
Then sing from the diaphragm.
A pirate I was meant to be, trim the sails and roam the sea.
We'll surely avoid scurvy if we all eat an orange.
And,
Well, door hinge? No. Guess the song's over then.
guess so.
Okay, back to work.
Well, gee, I feel a little guilty now.